Namaste, Rashmi. Yes, good to be here. Can't hear anything because I'm not talking. How can you hear if I'm not talking? Can you hear now? Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Chapter 5 of Svetasvatara Upanishad. First verse, chapter 5. Very beautiful. And for those who have been noticing and who have been taking these classes, the Svetasvatara classes, then we have we have seen the progression. And what is the progression? Slowly it is getting more nuanced, more advanced, you can say, within quotes, because what is advanced in that which has no gradations, in that Brahman which is free of all gradations, what is there to advance, what is there to retreat, where is the drawback, where is the setback, where is the advance. But nonetheless, in terms of the unfolding of the study of the knowledge, the same thing can be conveyed, at different levels of complexity. And we might ask, why does it matter? If all is Brahman and I am that Brahman, why do you want to say it in a fancy way? It's like taking something and dressing it up. You can have a meal, a classic meal in India. It's called khichdi. You cook everything. It's actually a one-pot sadhu meal. You cook everything together. You put some dal, lentils, one food group taken care of, check. You put some rice or whatever it is, your quinoa, whatever it is, and then you put some vegetables and some spices and cook it together. Okay, so that is a meal, and you can eat it. You can fill your tummy and go about your day. Finished, done. And you don't have to wash more than one pot. You don't have to. Nothing is elaborate. That same thing, that khichdi, what is expressed in the khichdi, the complete meal, can be articulated through various cuisines of India. So you can have, dal, and you can make it separately. And they did one study and they found that there are 117 ways in India of preparing dal from north to south, east to west. If you go to each province, if you go to each area, they have counted and tabulated 117 ways of making dal, and even though nobody has tabulated ways of making rice, you can have many kinds of rice. You can have mixed rice, coconut rice, mango rice, lemon rice. By the end of this, everybody will be hungry. I can promise that. Whether Jnanodaya takes place or not. Jnanodaya means the dawn of knowledge, the dawn of appetite will definitely take place. And so you can have mango rice, lemon rice, tamarind rice, vegetable rice, and all kinds of, biryanis and this and that. So many kinds of rice. You can make elaborate kinds of rice. And then what? Then vegetable, you can, instead of putting it along with the dal and the rice, you can make that separately. You can have North Indian kind vegetables with bathing in some gravy kind of sauce, or you can have dry vegetables, or you can have vegetables with different seasoning, green chili, red chili, white pepper, black pepper, this, that, so many kinds of things. Just lemon and olive oil, Mediterranean style. You can have so many kinds of ways in which the same thing, the dal, rice and vegetables are prepared. So you can have a gourmet lunch or dinner, in honor of Ramanavami. You can have a gourmet lunch, or you can have your regular khichdi. What's the difference? The difference is, of course, it's much more elaborate. It's much more, lot of preparation is needed. Yeah. Lot of preparation is needed, both for the person who is cooking and presenting this food, and also for the person assimilating the food. So what does the person assimilating the food, what preparation do they need? They have to appear at the table, antacid in hand. They are prepared. Come what may, they'll be able to digest all the ghees and all the fats and all the spices, everything without any problem. So like this, so a gourmet meal made out of the same ingredients. I mean, do we need it? No. But is it fun? Immense fun. Immensely it is fun. And do we need this level of elaboration? Yes. Because if you want to know the ingredients of what is in the khichdi, you don't know. But if you make the rice separately and you tease out the tastes with all these kinds of accoutrements, you put coconut and all these, sauces and make it, then, it just touches the palate in a very, nuanced way. So this is chapter 5. This is an introduction to chapter 5, which is Gourmet Vedanta. This is not for the one who has no taste buds, Yeah. The one who has no taste buds, you just say, what is that verse that is often quoted from Dindima? There is one, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. The world is Mithya. Jagat is Mithya, the universe is Mithya, and Brahman alone is Satyam. Jiva is Brahman, not different from any other. Jiva is not separate. It's Brahman. And then what? Bye bye. So this is the khichdi fare of Vedanta. It's everything is just given in a concise form, as it is. There is no fancy footwork. And there is no teasing out of the various elements, and also there is no guesswork. What is in the Vedanta khichdi? What is in the regular khichdi? Rice, dal, vegetables. What is in the Vedanta khichdi? Jiva, Brahman, and Mithya. This is what is in the Vedanta khichdi. But it's very difficult to discern, and it's much more enjoyable as we have nuanced ways of presenting it. But for that, that antacid was a joke. One has to have a palate. So the Shastra presents the same Vedanta in a very subtle and nuanced form, and for which one has to have a palate. The student has to bring the palate in order to be able to assimilate and enjoy these tastes. Yeah. No, you cannot put a 10-course meal in front of a buffalo. it is a khichdi type of animal. It just needs something, it'll eat. It's not, and if you present a salad in a nice little, kind of a boat made of some nice, it'll eat the salad, it'll eat the container also. There is no discrimination, no discernment. This, this Upanishad, as it unfolds itself, as the Shastra unfolds itself, you see it, I don't want to call it complex. It is, it addresses the same issue from various nuanced angles. And if it appears complex, that means one needs to have what is called in the parlance of the chefs, a palate cleanser. So you go to these gourmet restaurants, and they give you some appetizer, and then they give you a little lemon water with some, little pepper and salt, just a little, a spoonful of it. And then what is that purpose? I mean, is this a drink? No, it's just a tiny little thimbleful. And what is that? You drink that and go, yeah, palate cleanser. Now you're ready for the main course. Now you're ready because the palate has been cleansed of all the debris of the oil and other residues from the previous course. And so in between the course, you have a little palate cleanser. So similarly, for the student, for the gourmet Vedantin, which is all of you, why are you all gourmet Vedantis? Because you're stuck at the table for so long. Yeah, the Shruti, Mother Shruti is continuing to serve dollops of all her creations, all her wonderful, tasteful things, and you are still here. So that means that, that you are gourmet Vedantins. And if you are not enjoying the classes, and if there is a block, that means one has to help oneself to a palate cleanser. Yeah, in between the classes, have a little introspection, have a little time to yourself to be able to take away the debris of all kinds of notions and all kinds of, all the other things in the universe that enter the mind, that enter the antkarana, and then they become the debris, so that one is not able to enjoy the courses dished out and cooked lovingly by Mother Shruti. Oh, so Mother Shruti is the cook? Yeah, she's the gourmet cook. What are you? What am I? I am just serving it, that's all. I'm just the server. I'm a waiter. Yeah, that's all it is. I'm just waiting upon, and I'm waiting the table of gourmet Vedanta, waiting for people to get this knowledge. That's why I'm a waiter. So I'm just serving. I'm not cooking. I'm not doing anything. I'm just serving. That's all it is. That's all, Sometimes I hand out antacids. Yeah, so that's what I do. So therefore, so Shruti is the gourmet cook. She's cooking and she's serving up this knowledge for the hungry minds in a very nuanced way, in a very beautiful fashion, for which we have to have the correct palate in the form of a sattvic mind to be able to ingest and enjoy its various flavors. So what comes in the way of that sattvic mind? One thing is the assailing information, the information, what is that called? Overload from the Jagat. So the information once goes in and doesn't come out. So the mind, the antakarna, is like a black hole. It just absorbs everything and then sits and cries afterwards. So that is one thing. The information overload is that just too much coming from all sides. And the gourmet Vedantin has to protect themselves from this kind of overload. This is on the level of what is called Adhi Bhautika. Adhibhautika, means from whatever is going on in the surroundings, one has to learn to not take everything. One has to have a deflecting shield through which all this information is processed. Some of it is thrown away right then, and it is not internalized. Because Adhi Bhautika doesn't take too long to become Adhyatmika, means centered on oneself. So the problems connected to surroundings have nothing to do with me. Correct? I am free, I am not suffering. But then once that information of that suffering enters the mind, then there is something that gets cooked up. It gets owned up as oneself. And so, so any kind of a global crisis can trigger a personal crisis that was already dormant and sleeping. It's just woken up, that's all. And so like this, the Adhi Bhautika, Adhyatmika, that balance has to be kept very, very, clear. Adhi Daivika, you can't do anything. Things come, but still one can do, things in the sense of be prayerful, open, and this is how you build up the palette for gourmet Vedanta lessons. Not your run-of-the-mill, Brahman, everything is Brahman, yeah, you are also Brahman, yeah. But then how come you don't know you are Brahman? Because of ignorance. And then, so therefore you have to go to Guru, and then Guru will teach Upanishad, and Upanishad is Apaurusheya, it is not man-made, therefore like Bhagavan it is infallible. In fact, Upanishad is the autobiography of Bhagavan, it's also your autobiography, you are Bhagavan, this is what it is. And the mind becomes a kind of a, rote, the lessons become, rote. And so one switches off. And because one switches off, one stops eating, one stops assimilating the knowledge before the clarity has been gained. Therefore, the Shruti has to become Mother Shruti has to become a gourmet cook and cook up all these ways of conveying the Vidya in a very, very, beautiful manner. So it's just fantastic, really. And so therefore, our job as the students of the Shruti is to keep the palate clean. Because that Adhi Bhautika, triggers the Adhyatmika. And the Adhyatmika means at the center of oneself, centered on oneself, are thoughts of self-loath and, fear and insecurity. All those things need to be taken care of. And one knows how to take care of them, and one has to do that. One has to be the adult and love up that all those little inner babies crying for attention. Don't think you can outsource the baby and put it in daycare. What is daycare? Television. Put it in front of the television. It doesn't work. You have to make time to just be. Otherwise, all the Vedanta is like putting all the gourmet food down the drain. It is wasted. And so therefore, the 5th chapter starts with a very interesting and a nuanced question. It's an answer to an unasked and a nuanced question. The question of the location of ignorance. What kind of ignorance? Any kind of ignorance. Whether it is ignorance of what is that? Tula avidya. Tula avidya means ignorance of everything around me. Seychelles. Where is Seychelles? I only saw some shells. But where is Seychelles? Oh, that. You can look it up. It's a beautiful island in the middle of the Indian Ocean. It's a small island in the middle of the Indian Ocean. Between India and Africa, Seychelles is there. And so now, first what? Seychelles ignorance. And now I have Seychelles knowledge. So whether it is the ignorance of Tula, Tula means everything else other than Atma, Anatma, Ajnanam. whether it is anatma ajnanam, ajnanam of not I, ignorance of not I, where is that located? And then, not what to talk of ignorance of I, where is that located? you know? And this is a debate which people have had, scholars of Vedanta have had at this dining table of Vedanta for many, many centuries. This is not a new debate. This is not a new thought. Even if one has had thought, where does ignorance reside? Because I know that the ignorance, I have self-ignorance, I know. So, but where does it really reside? And if that question, if one has, meandered into that question, then, I have news for you. What is the news? The news is that you are not alone. For centuries, scholars and thinkers have pondered on this question. Not only pondered on this question, they have hotly debated and disagreed on this question. Not only and if that was not enough, they have serious contentions based on the question of where does the ignorance reside. So there are some people, and let us just tease it out a little further before we plunge into the verse itself. So there are some people who say that the ignorance, including self-ignorance, ignorance of everything, ignorance of I, let's not even make a difference. It is ignorance after all. So this ignorance, it cannot be with Brahman. Why? Because stupid, haven't you studied the definition of Brahman? What is the definition of Brahman? Who knows? Huh? What is the definition of Brahman? Not a rhetorical question again. What is definition of Brahman? Exactly. Satyam Jnanam Anantam. And hello, look at the second word, Jnanam. Jnanam means it is all knowledge. So what's wrong with you? How can you say that ignorance resides in Brahman? That is like saying darkness is residing inside light. How is that even possible? In fact, the two are totally opposed to each other. Yatra yatra light, tatra tatra no darkness. Correct? We know this. And now we have learned additional Sanskrit also. Yatra means wherever, wherever. Tatra means there, in that place. So wherever there is light, there cannot be darkness. And we know the story very nicely. The story of the sun Devata riding in his chariot of 7 horses. Bhagavad Gita, 5 horses. And this one, the sun story, sun has 7 horses because 7 colors of the rainbow emanating from that light, So 7 colors of the rainbow. So the mythology is that, the myth is that he goes in the chariot and from the, rises in the east and sets in the west. Sun is moving. And, this is the story told to children. And then, Narada goes to the sun and says, the sage, everybody is happy to see Narada because in these days of international travel, so difficult, so many problems, and then you can't take your laptop and you can't do this, and you can't, if you are from this country, you have to not fly, and all, so many things are there. Travel is very complicated, and so now, so what to talk of just travel between countries? Now, think of travel between lokas. Narada had a boon because of which he was able to go very beautifully from one place to another. No problem, no visa, no ban, nothing. He was just able to fly. with his laptop. Yeah, so because he was in the middle of composing some sutras, so he needed his laptop. No problem. He was able. He was on the always fly list. No problem. He was a special flyer. He could go anywhere. So people were very happy to see him because he brought news of other lokas. So the sun was very happy to see him. Sun Deva said, "Hey Narada, what's going on in the earth over there? Are people still doing sun salutations?" Yeah, people are now. In fact, they are doing it all over the world. Before they were only doing it in India. Oh, yippee, says the sun. They're saluting me, wonderful. And so is everybody, reverential? Is everybody, likes me? Yes, oh Lord, everyone loves you. But Narada in his characteristic fashion says, but, dot, dot, dot. But what? Sun Devata says, what happened? And then Narada says, there's one lady who does not, who does not like to look at you. In fact, she runs away. Who is this? Her name is Miss Darkness, Miss Night. And he says, oh, where is she right now? Oh, right now she's in America. Okay, I'm going there. And he whips up the horses and goes there. Narada sits down next to him for the ride because he's having fun. And then reaching America, he says, he rises above the skyline of New York and he says, where? And then what do the people say? What does Narada say? She just left for India. And so the sun being for darkness, and this is a story that is told, the sun is the source of all light, searching for darkness. And, it just doesn't happen. So really speaking, Satyam Jnanam Ananta Brahma. This is Brahman, which is Jnanam, all knowledge. And you cannot say, this is the contention, okay? Yeah. So you cannot say that ignorance, which is likened to the darkness in the example, resides in the same place as the knowledge. If ignorance and knowledge can reside in the same place, then it doesn't make sense. Then you'll have knowledge and ignorance constantly overpowering one another. And then how does ignorance come to an end? We don't know. So like this, there is one contention of scholars, ancient scholars, from Brahma Sutra time, trying to keep Brahman pure. Does Brahman need to be kept pure? Did it ask you, please keep me pure? No, it is ever pure already. But the scholars have taken it upon themselves to keep Brahman pure of ignorance by saying Brahman is all knowledge, all light, and the ignorance resides in or belongs to that which is not Brahman. Now my next question to you is, what is not Brahman? Huh? What is not Brahman? Nothing. Nothing is not Brahman. Why? Because go back to the Upanishadic sentence, Sarvam Khalveva Brahma. Khalvidam Brahma. Everything that is, that was, that will be, that wasn't, that isn't right now, isn't in this form, particular form right now, is all Brahman. So then, if the ignorance is outside of Brahman, where will it be? Because there is nothing outside of Brahman. Are you in Brahman or not? Yeah, I think so. Then, are you ignorant or not? That I don't know. Whether I'm ignorant or not, I don't know. Means you're ignorant because you use the word I don't know. Perhaps. Okay. So if you are, included in Brahman, and if you are ignorant, then the ignorance should be residing in Brahman. No, that doesn't make sense. If ignorance resides in Brahman, where will we go? So then we cannot say Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, Prajnanam Brahma. We cannot say. Much less can we say, I am Atma Brahma. All the Mahavakyas are just, are just, have to fold up. They have to fold up, roll up, like a yoga mat. The Mahavakyas have to roll up because they have no purpose. No purpose. But why do the Mahavakyas roll up like a yoga mat? Because there is no one doing acrobatics on them. No minds doing various asanas trying to assimilate the Mahavakya. Nobody is there. So therefore they have to just roll up and they, close shop. So therefore now what to do? You cannot say knowledge, you cannot say ignorance resides in Brahman. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. I mean, come on, think about it. If ignorance resides in Brahman, then how can Brahman be Satyam, Jnanam, Ananta? But if ignorance does not reside in Brahman, this is the second aksha, the second contention. Ignorance cannot reside in Brahman. Brahman has to be kept pure of ignorance. Then where will it reside? Where will it sit down? Where will it sleep? Where will it eat? Where will it thrive? Well, it does thrive in my mind. This is a age-old contention. This is a very, very big thing. And people have written about that endlessly. And then people have written PhD thesis about it, about this. After which you have to be permanently on aspirin. Yeah, you get a headache because there are so many, and they'll be splitting the hairs. They'll say, well, a little bit of ignorance, maybe ignorance of everything outside of Atma resides in Brahman, but Atma ignorance, Brahman is free of. They go on and on and on. But for our purpose, this kind of a, introduction is plenty. We don't have to become scholars of where, this particular, train of thought. We just have to enjoy the victuals of Mother Shruti, that is, she's serving it up for us in the form of this wonderful verse. Let us look at this verse now. Okay. Dve akshare brahma pare tvanante. Dve akshare brahma pare tvanante. Vidya vidye nihite yatra gudhe. Ksharam tu avidya hi amritam tu vidya. Vidya vidye ishate yahatu saha anyaha. Very nice verse. Beautiful. Puts this whole contention to rest. I don't know, after reading this verse, this mantra, how can those contentions thrive and survive for so many centuries? How can they have an abiding presence that even today we have to keep, contending against those wrong contentions? I don't know. But this is one of the mysteries of Vedanta, and perhaps it is our karma to deal with it even today. That's all we can say. But it very, very clearly says this, Let us look at it again. Dve akshare brahma pare tvanante vidya vidye nihite yatra gudhe ksharam tva vidya hyamritam tu vidya vidya vidye ishate yastu sonyah. So let us see what it says. Just look at the verse. Dve nihite. So take the word dve first and go straight to the next line. Nihite. Dve nihite. So two things are there. Dve nihite. Two things are there. Now the question is, where are they? Where are they? Okay, forget where they are. What are they? Two things. Vidya vidye. Vidya cha avidya cha. Vidya vidye. A compound. Okay? So, ignorance and knowledge. Two things are there. And they are nihite, placed, remaining in, and they are in. What are they in? Here, nihite. And they are nihite where Now we can ask the question, where? Akshare Brahma Pare Tu Anante. They are in Brahman. So Vidya is in Brahman. That we already knew. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. And then what else is there? Avidya is also in Brahman. Very interesting, very interesting buffet of Vedanta here. Avidya is also in Brahman too, in fact, indeed. And what is this Brahman? Param Brahma, Pare and Anante qualify. So, and three words qualifying Brahman: Akshara, Para and Ananta. Yes. So, Akshara, Para and Ananta are qualifying Brahman. Para means there is nothing beyond that. The ultimate, there is nothing other than that. There is nothing quite like that. There is nothing unlike that. All there is that which is the source of all existence. Akshara, unchanging, undeclinable, indeclinable, and unchanging. So in this unchanging, indeclinable Brahman, which is the source, which is the Satya, which is the truth, which is the existence of everything, and which is also what? Ananta. Ananta means without any location, at all, free of spatial, and temporal limitations. Deshatah aparichinnah, kalatah aparichinnah. And then what? Vastutah api aparichinnah. Aparichinnah means without, without any conditioning, spatial conditioning. Parichinna means conditioning. Aparichinna, no conditioning based on space, based on time, or object-wise. So everything has object-wise conditioning. Because if it is in the form of one orange, that orange cannot suddenly turn into an apple. So object-wise conditioning is there. You are in this particular body, suddenly, you cannot become a dog. So like this, it's not possible, to be in two bodies at once. And so like this, object-wise conditioning, spatial conditioning, time-wise or temporal conditioning, is the hallmark of all the things that enjoy the status of that have nama rupa and enjoy the status of being a discrete object in the Jagat. So Brahman not being an object, it's the truth of the subject, it's the content of the subject. So it's the content of everything. And in this Brahma, which is Ananta, which is Akshara Naksharati, and Kale Naksharati, Kalatah Naksharati, it does not decline in time, in space. The indeclinable one, meaning it is unchanging, it is always the same. It is indeclinable means it is existent. Because a non-existent thing cannot be subject to decline or not subject to decline. So this is an existent thing, and we know many existent things. We know, in fact, so many existent things, and all of them are subject to what? Kshara. Yeah, Kshara. And 15th chapter talks about this, 15th chapter expresses this in the this same truth in a slightly different way. Very beautiful, Dvavimau loke ksharascha kshara evacha ksharas sarvani bhutani kutastha akshara uchyate uttamah purushastvanyah. So it talks of three kinds of purushas. Three kinds of purushas. Dvau, there also, first it talks of two and quietly inserts the third one, same as here. Dvau imau purushau loke. Dvau imau purushau loke. Ksharascha kshara evacha. Ksharas sarvani bhutani. Kutastokshara uchyate. So first it talks of two things. Dvau imau purushaha. Purushaha means same as Brahma. Brahman, ultimate. Sarvan purayati, that which includes everything, that which completes everything. Dvau imau loke, dvau purushau sthaha. Two kinds of purushas are there. Only one Brahman. How there are two purushas? two purushas, so to speak. One is called Kshara Purusha. Kshara Purusha means all the existent things blessed by the Purusha, but which are declinable, which continue to decline. All the object world of Anatma, that is also Purusha. Same thing that is being here told here, that is also Brahman. Everything is Brahman. So here, Akshare Brahmani. So Brahman is Akshara, but everything Kshara, everything that is subject to decline, cannot be outside of Brahman. So Kshara and Akshara are both Brahman. Brahman, is not Kshara. Kshara is Brahman. Kshara is included in Brahman, but Brahman is not subject to Kshara, Kshaya. So this is very, very wonderful. So here is something which we have to see very, very carefully. So Kshara means what? That which is declinable. That which enjoys the status of Nama Rupa and can be called a discrete object in the universe, starting with pens, pencils, everything. All the things in the universe are what? Kshara. Because as we look at them, they start to decline. As we look at them, they are declining. Kshara, 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 kshara. It goes flower, kshara, fruit, kshara, and all other objects, kshara. It's only a matter of time, that's all. Some are more long-lived and some are, on life support permanently, so to speak, but that also is not permanent. And then everything else is what? Kshara. But Brahman alone, which blesses these objects with existence, is Akshara. So same thing in the Gita verse also. Dvau imau purushau loke. In this world, there are two kinds of purushas. One is called Kshara Purusha, the other one is called Akshara Purusha. Akshara here means what? Here in the Bhagavad Gita, Akshara means Maya Shakti. That Shakti which has the power to make everything Kshara is called Akshara, relatively speaking. But then the third Purusha, Uttamah Purushastu Anyaha Paramatma iti Udahritah Yo Lokatrayam Avishya Vibharti Avyayah Ishvarah. Uttamah Purusha. Finally, there is an exalted Purusha. So, will the real Purusha stand up? Yes, this is the real Purusha. Real means it is not subject to Kshara. It is beyond Kshara, Akshara. It is beyond Vidya, Avidya. It is Anyaha. Uttamah Purushastu Anyaha. Look at the last, stanza here. Vidya Vidye Ishate Yahatu Anyaha. Same thing. Very nice. And the Bhagavad Gita perhaps has borrowed from this. There is such a, overlap of the meanings here. Very beautiful. And so, Uttamah Purusha tu, whereas the Uttamah Purusha is Anyaha. Anyaha means untouched by this Kshara Akshara business, because the Kshara Akshara again is a relative definition. You say Akshara because you negate the Kshara. But if there is no Kshara possible, there is nothing to negate. That's what it's talking about here. Kshara is not possible, so what is there to negate? There is nothing to negate at all. So all there is Akshara, when you can't even call it Akshara because the word Akshara is a relative definition here. So in this Brahman, which is not subject to decline, and why do we have to say this? Because we confuse Brahman to be one more object in the universe, which is all of which are subject to decline. So we to remove that confusion, we say everything is subject to decline, but Brahman is not subject to decline. But then we have to remember Brahman is not one more object in the universe. All these are, here are certain things, 6 apples and 1 orange, Brahman is the orange. No, it's not one more thing belonging to the same categorical reality of the universe, the empirical reality of the universe. It does not belong to, yet it sustains it, and it is free of all kinds of decline. So similarly, this Uttamah Purushaha tu Anyaha. Anyaha means other. And what is the name? Udahritaha. What is it called in the Upanishads? Bhagavad Gita says Paramatma iti Udahritaha. It is called Paramatma. Here also Param Brahma, Pare Brahma. Param Brahma here, first line, and then Paramatma is Ishvara, Ishate, overlords, the one who overlords over Kshara, Akshara, the one who overlords over Vidya, Avidya, one who overlords over Dharma, Adharma. All these, contentious and relational dualities are just, what is that? Falsified when you get to that level which removes itself, that level of, what is that, Paramarthika Satta, when you get to the understanding the order of reality called Paramarthika, where all there is Brahman. So all these small contentions are put to rest, because here you can use the word, it transcends all of that. But nothing transcends it. Yes. So this is what we have to really understand. So now back to this verse. So here back to this verse. Dve kshare brahma pare tvanante vidya vihite vidya vidye nihite. Up till now we have seen. So we have to look at dve nihite. 2 things are there. What are they? Vidya, knowledge, avidya, ignorance. Now where are they located, so to speak? Location is in, the word location is in quotes. Where are they located? Akshare brahma pare tu anante. Very beautiful construction. Aksharam brahma, param brahma, anantam brahma. But not jnanam brahma, because the jnanam is what is under contention here. So therefore, very quietly, it talks about Satyam Brahma in the sense of Aksharam, that which is indeclinable, which is unchanging is Satyam, because it is existent and it is non-negatable. A non-negatable existence is called Akshara here. So it is Abadhitam, Yad Abadhitam, Tat Satyam, Trikalepi Tishtati, Tat Satyam. We have seen the 2 definitions of the Satyam. The first definition is what? Abadhitam Satyam. That which is non-negatable is called existent, Sat. Number 2, Trikalepi Tishtati. That which is unchanging in all 3 periods of time is called Sat. 2 definitions of Sat. And here the word Akshara captures both of them beautifully. So they, these Vidya and Avidya are apparently, included, Ashrita, resting upon what? This unchanging Satyam Brahma, which is which is talked about as Aksharam here. And Param means it's the ultimate, and beyond it there is nothing else. Unlike it, there is nothing else. Like it, there is nothing else. It is not comparable to anything else. It is the source of all existence. And therefore it is Ananta. Ananta means without any, without a second, limitless. Therefore it is limitless. Space-wise, limitless. Time-wise, limitless. Object-wise, limitless. If any otherwise, limitless. Otherwise, limitless. So it's totally limitless. And in this limitless Brahman, we are just seeing the meaning of the verse. In this limitless Brahman rests both 2 things rest. And what is that? What are those things that rest in Brahman, so to speak? Vidya and avidya, yatra nihite. Yatra means not where, there. Here it means there. So right here, Right in this Brahman are included both Vidya and Avidya. So therefore the word Jnanam is not used here. Vidya and Avidya are used, and we'll see why later, more in detail we will see. And so right now we just understand the meaning. So ignorance, and then what? Both ignorance and knowledge are Brahmashraya. Brahmashraya means they are leaning upon Brahman. They don't have an existence on their own. Okay, they are in Brahman. And then, but why don't I know? Why don't I know this? Gudhe. They are both Vidya and Avidya are very tricky. They are Gudha. Gudha means hidden, from guh, to hide. Past participle, Gudha, they are hidden. How are they hidden? Look at your own thoughts. Look at your own thoughts. The question is, do you know that you know? No, I don't know that I know. See? Gudha. Then, so the first scenario is, do you know that you know? I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. See, it is Gudha. And when you say, I don't know that I know, are you expressing Vidya or are you expressing Avidya? This is again a very interesting question. Think about it. When you say, I don't know that I know, are you expressing Vidya or Avidya? What is being expressed? Very interesting. That's why it is Gudha. Okay, scenario number 2. If you know that you don't know. The first scenario was what? You don't know that you know. Okay. And second scenario is, you know that you don't know. Are you expressing Vidya or Avidya? Huh? Gudham. Gudha. You don't know. Okay. And then, supposing somebody knows but does not know that they know. Scenario number 3, you know, you don't know that you know. You know, but you don't know that you know. Ayyo, what is happening here? Is it Vidya being expressed or is it Avidya? Well, if you say both, then you are just reiterating what this verse is saying, which is what? Vidya and Avidya are hidden and find their resting place in Brahman alone. As though that was not enough, we will give a scenario number 4, which is, of course, you know that you know. You know that you know. One scenario, you don't know that you know. You don't know that you don't know. And you know that you don't know. And, now there is a head scratching moment. You suddenly feel like, oh my God, what is happening? This is Vedanta. If you are confused, that means knowledge is taking place. This is one place where the confusion is welcomed, because the appearance of the confusion means that one is ready for the knowledge. So that's what it is. One is open and ready for the knowledge. And so here, so that's why it is called hidden. Vidya and Avidya are hidden, as it, so to speak, because they have multifarious expressions and mutually confusing and mutually antagonistic expressions. Antagonistic expressions. Mutually, how can these kinds of Vidya and Avidya coexist in the same mind in a very funny way? Like when you say, I know that I don't know, I don't know that I know, I know that I know, I don't know that I don't know. I mean, like this, if you keep saying like this, it's crazy making, because it goes against all logic. And so therefore, this is the resting place of both Avidya and Vidya is in Brahman. Who is this Brahman? Jiva is Brahma. This Jiva alone, you are that Brahman. And so the resting place of Vidya and Avidya are both Brahmashrita, so to speak. Okay? And within quotes. And then what? Ksharam tu Avidya. So then Avidya, ignorance, is got the status of Ksharatvam. Ksharatvam means what? Declinability. Thank God. Ignorance can be spirited away. Ignorance is spirited away. By what? Knowledge of that particular thing. Ignorance is spirited away, and then but you just said that knowledge is not opposed to ignorance. A particular kind of knowledge is opposed to ignorance. We will be talking about that in detail, which is called vritti jnanam. We talked about that earlier also. Vritti jnanam, or a particular way, the operation of that particular ignorance through a means of knowledge is called vritti jnanam. So that particular ignorance is addressed through a particular means of knowledge, and that is opposed to, that is opposed to ignorance. That particular articulation and the operation of the knowledge via a means of knowledge is opposed to ignorance. But not Brahman. Brahman, which is all knowledge, is neither opposed to ignorance nor is it opposed to knowledge. Everything is Brahman alone. And so here, so we are not talking of that particular operation. We'll talk about that later. We are just looking at the verse now. So, Ksharam tu avidya. Avidya, poor thing, is mortal. It comes with a lifespan. It comes with a lifespan. And what is its lifespan? Till the jiva starts to listen to Vedanta. So then what? Avidya starts to fall sick. And then Avidya says, I don't feel too good. I'm not getting out of bed. Theek hai, raho, acha hai. And then Avidya says, I'm feeling weaker and weaker and weaker. Avidya stops eating. You have to stop feeding it, okay? Yeah. Then it stops eating. Then it is in a coma. Once in a while it comes out, makes some noise and goes back in a coma. Then it is in a permanently vegetative state for a few years. Is all the way, all the way as one gains clarity. And then it dies off and doesn't come back. So avidya is kshara. It has got the property of ksharatvam. Thank God. Thank God. Avidya is finite. Avidya is subject to death. So unless, of course, one is taking pains to keep it alive. Some people do that. For some reason that is yet unknown to me, people still, unknown to us, people still like to keep the avidya, especially atma avidya, self-ignorance, alive. Self-ignorance is kept alive through various means. You keep it on life support, you give it antibiotics, you give it a lot of nutritional drinks, to shakes, protein shakes you give it, and then it is unshakable, so to speak, because of all the shakes. Anyway, so unless one is doing that, avidya keeps dying. It's a dying thing. It is subject to death. It is dying. And then what? Whereas amritam to vidya, amritam means not subject to death, immortal is knowledge. Ignorance is subject to death. Immortal indeed is the knowledge. And then, who are you? You are Isha. You are that witness, consciousness that reigns over both ignorance and knowledge, that is conscious of the knowledge, that is conscious of the ignorance, as expressed in these four scenarios. I know that I know. I don't know that I don't know. I know that I don't know. I don't know that I know. You are still, witnessing the shadow light play of ignorance and knowledge. And that witness is jnanam. That jnanam of satyam, jnanam, anantam, that jnanam is unopposed to ignorance, is unopposed to also knowledge of various things. And there alone, that the one who is identified as the witness is called Isha, Ishate, second conjugation, Ishate. And what is that? Ishate Yahatu, the one who is untouched by the shadow light play of Vidya and Avidya, and the one who is untouched by Ksharatvam of any kind, the one who is immortal, the one who is in the form of all knowledge, the one who just is a mere spectator of the ways in which ignorance and knowledge gets played out. Saha Anyaha. Anyaha means other than this Vidya Avidya is that Brahman in the form of Ishvara. First, Brahman means consciousness. In that consciousness, that consciousness is unopposed to ignorance and knowledge, and the one who is aware of that consciousness is Ishvara, Bhagavan, and that Bhagavan just rules over both ignorance and knowledge without being affected by either. There's a lot more to talk about this. This was just the appetizer. Then for the next whole week, you can have a palate cleanser and come back for more next Tuesday. Okay? Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Okay, any questions? Yeah, but it is badhita. Badhita means it is falsified, negated. Yeah. Because the ahankara still is there. Ahankara is the one who says I'm the one who knows, but it's not separate because that separation is just confined to the body mind sense complex. I know I'm one with everything. So Mahavakyas are wrong? No. Who said Mahavakyas are wrong? Mahavakyas are correct. Yeah, I just said the Mahavakyas roll up, because they have nothing to say. If you are, I was making a different point. I said the Mahavakyas will become useless if there is no ignorance. If you say that the ignorance does not rest in the conscious being, then the Mahavakyas might as well roll up. Yeah, I was giving a poetic scenario. Yeah, it's very difficult to sleep after these classes. I know. For me, it is morning, so that's good. All the best. Om.